When I think about the nightlife on Miami's campus, Brick Street is one specific location among others that jumps to mind. The bar with the dance floor, the strobe lights, the music have been the place of birth for many memories, both good and bad, for many people. So I started to wonder what role Brick Street plays in the creation or maintaining of relationships between people, and what about the specific media that Brick Street employs enables its patrons to achieve their own specific social ends. And so I ventured into the dark, somewhat frightening mass of college students that is Brick to find some answers. First, give me your description of Brick on a Friday
night. Brick on a Friday night. It's pretty rowdy. I'd say it's like the end of the week. People who didn't get to go out on Thursdays typically make it out on Friday.
But what about Brick makes it this way? My friends I interviewed, Katie, Keely, and Caroline, who were with me at Brick Street that night, agreed to discuss this with me. All of them agreed that the music was the primary catalyst to the wild, rowdy atmosphere.
It's a lot of rap, but not even rap, more like remixes of rap songs and pop songs. So it's a lot of like techno or things that are like heavy on the bass and the beat drops. And
gosh, they play a variety, but it's always like they always change it into like club music. Like the night we were there, they played like a Lion King song but like made it into like a remix
of
to,
a
like
techno song.
Yeah, like EDM, like kind of stuff.
So they play a lot of that.
Yeah, it always gets people pumped up.
This club scene, focused on mostly rap and remixes, is evident throughout my footage and is a classic example of remediation, a term described by anthropologist and communications professor Richard Bauman.
It's always been this way with pop culture. Like, if you know the songs everyone's listening to, you feel more a part of the group. I don't think it makes them feel mature. I think if anything, it might make them feel less mature because it's just stuff actual adults would never listen to. But I do think if you don't know the words to the song, you kind of feel like excluded, or like you can't sing along, or you don't know how to dance to it. So everybody kind of likes to keep up with like the songs everyone's listening to.
Her response was consistent with my thoughts that this music was a crucial way for our peers to establish cultural competence and build positive faith through popular music. These genres may not necessarily be everybody's favorite, yet they still remain a huge part of the Brick Street experience. So as my fieldwork went on and I went back and looked over all of the footage, I realized that not a lot of spoken words and conversations were going on. So I decided to ask my three friends whether or not they thought that spoken word was a really significant part of their experiences at Brick Street. And a lot of them had things to say about body language more so than actual spoken word. Like my friend Caroline saw a boy that she liked, and she didn't really speak to him that much, but they definitely communicated.
Kind of are on that level where it's like where you know someone well enough that you don't have to have a full out conversation, because especially when you're at Brick and music is blaring, you can't have full out what did you do today, how are you today, you can't do that. So then you just like dance.
Right. So you would say that most of like the communication is established through body language.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
Dancing.
Yeah.
So not a lot of like conversations of significance.
Right.
So although Caroline and this male friend may have a social practice that they consider specific to them, evidence of other men and women completing the social business of flirting through body language was evident in my video fieldwork at Brick. Her and this boy were, in the words of communication professor Jennifer Robinson, keying their performance to suit this atmosphere where speech wasn't possible. Even though nothing important was said, the two still had a successful and happy encounter by emerging their performance to one of dance, both appearing culturally competent and completing the goal of interacting in a fun and positive way.
It harder to communicate, like it's a barrier to like normal conversational communication, so you definitely have to talk louder and like get closer to someone's face when you're speaking to them when you're like at Brick, like on a Friday night, and like I said, like it's super crowded, so you have to like make sure the person like knows you're talking to them and not someone else,
right?
And so it's definitely different, and you have to be more aggressive.
So clearly, music plays a huge role in the social business of everybody who was at Brick Street that night that I talked to. So Dr. Harvey introduced the concept of sonic air conditioning to me, or the idea that music plays a huge role in making a situation more comfortable, almost like white noise to help somebody sleep. So when I brought this up to Caroline, she agreed that when music shuts off at a party or a bar or a nightclub like Brick Street, the mood that the music created is immediately thrown off.
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, at the rare times when like the music like shuts off for a second, or even like not even at Brick, just like like if you're out at a party or something, like the music like stops, you're kind of thrown off.
Yeah, it's like jarring.
Right, and like when that happens, you like kind of don't know what to do because like you're like screaming to talk to someone, and then like when the music's off, you're just you're like, oh, okay.
Right.
And you or like if you don't have much to talk about, you just start singing the lyrics or stuff like that. It's like kind of a comfort thing.
A comfort thing.
Mm-hmm.
So again, the idea of establishing a cultural common ground with peers is an essential part of the social business of Brick Street. It seems like going out with friends, dancing to the music, meeting up with people, and having a good time at Brick during the nighttime can't really be achieved without some form of musical entertainment. This led me to wonder, how do the producers of that music at these venues keep the atmosphere interesting and keep people dancing? I decided to ask a friend and beginner DJ for some answers.
But you definitely have to be super reactive to how the crowd's feeling, and you can easily pick that up from when you're on stage. Like the mood. Because you could just see by the way everybody's standing, posture is a lot of it, like, and just how everyone's interacting.
Right.
And usually, a lot of it comes down to like your first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And if you're on fire, then people are gonna like
flock to the dance floor.
Get in with you and like be building with you as you're like going throughout your set.
We, as humans, construct meaning within mediated experiences. Brick Street on a Friday night is a prime example of this. Each person that walks uptown and enters that bar has goals, opinions, hopes, and feelings. The experience that my peers have is individualized, yet similarities can be easily drawn as a result of shared frameworks of cultural meaning. Popular culture, the expected lifestyle of a college student, and the desire to be a part of a larger entity all fuel the practices that are evident at Brick Street.
Yeah.